from hospitality into retail again because $5 an hour pay raise to go from an administrator to a stocking person or a specialist at a box retailer. I'm like, all right, I can do this. And so I did that, and I did that for 2 years. And, I was running departments, and I was being able to help people build houses and design their houses. And I was the only one doing it. And, the housing market fell out in 2007 and everything dropped and people got eliminated because they didn't need them anymore. And, then it just got ridiculously stupid when it came to working 60 hours a week because I was salaried.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, so my $15, $16 an hour just went down to $8 now, and, so I had to, figure something else out from there. And I was sick of the cold. And so I just said, you know what? Hey, let's see what I can find in the southeast region of Florida. And so I started putting out resumes, and I started, thinking, all right, I'm going to go back into hospitality. Mm-hmm. And so in my first week of putting out resumes, I had 7 calls from Tampa. And I said, all right, I guess Tampa's where it's at. And I started doing phone interviews. I flew down for in-person interviews. And while I didn't get those 7, I still packed up all of my stuff and just left. So I came down, I got myself an apartment. I started, looking for other jobs and applying for jobs. And the first job interview that I had of that 7 called me a month later and asked me if I was still looking for a job and said, the job is yours. Wow. So they had hired somebody, it didn't work out, and they called me back after a month. Mm-hmm. And I ended up being there for 4 years.
Okay.
And the one thing that the manager, my director of sales, told me is, she says, your resume looks like you job hop. And I'm like, well, it is retail and hospitality. And she's like, you need to be somewhere for a good amount of time to show your future employers that you can stick around. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, I took that, I kind of ran with it. And, she ended up leaving a year later and wanted to take me with her. And I said, no, because you told me that I needed to have, years in one place. And so it was really funny because in that 4 years that I worked at that one property, she switched like 3 times and asked me to come with her each time. And now she is one of my clients. So I do graphic design work for her and her property. So
oh, wow. That's great.
I know, right? So yeah, so that's, Florida, I've been in hospitality. My last corporate job, I opened a steakhouse.
Oh, okay.
That was really awesome to put under my belt because I'd never opened a restaurant before. Mm-hmm. And so that was my first manager title officially came from the hotel industry, and I became a catering sales manager, and I loved that. But then it was like, I need to figure out where my heart is because it just wasn't in that property, with that particular management system and the people that were in power, just not good for me and not good for my personality and not good for my customers, for repeat business. Mm-hmm. And when your business is and your salary and your bonuses are based on repeat business, you can't have that. And so that's when I went to the restaurant and did that. And, after 6 months, they decided to change my entire job title and job description and pay structure and everything. And that was not what I wanted. And so I fired corporate America and started my clone solution and lived very meagerly for the first year. But going from billing $25 an hour to billing $75 an hour in 3 years is a crazy jump. But it's, people are interested in working with me because I get results. Yeah. And that's what I want. I've always wanted. I wanted the recognition, which is totally a prestige thing. Mm-hmm. I wanted the recognition. I don't care what I get paid. As long as everything's taken care of and I'm good, I want people to really want to work with me. And so, I have to test out new clients, because when they come to me and they say they want to work with me, I give them a homework assignment. And if they don't do their homework assignment, or they don't ask for my help in doing it, they're probably not the right person to work with me. Mm-hmm. Because, I am very nice, and just how you hear me now, this is how I am. But I am very hard with my clients, because most of my clients are entrepreneurs or solopreneurs that just need a boss. Mm-hmm. Need somebody to tell them what to do next and how to do it, so that they can be the most productive and spend their time doing the things that they really need to do, versus the things that they're wasting their time on. And that's where my clone solution is. So I really get to be the good manager that I always wanted to have. But I get to do it for people that make their own lives, mm-hmm. and not in a world where everybody's dictated by the person above them.
Yeah. I'm curious, why did you decide to get into productivity specifically? So after, you're working for this corporate America gigs, mm-hmm. you got into this. Is that something that you've always been interested in or fascinated with, or what was it particularly about that aspect that really enticed you enough to start a business around it?
Necessity. And that's really like, at one point, my 4-year job here in Tampa, I was supporting 18 people. When you are one person working full time supporting 18 people, of which they can't even fax their own paper. Okay. You have to learn how to be your most productive self. You have to learn how to block out time on your calendar for certain things, and, know when you can deviate from that, or when you have to put out fires. Mm-hmm. I was essentially the communication hub for a hotel that has 400 employees, and, the management only talks to each other like once a week, so I was that person that had to make sure everybody knew what was going on and what was happening. And if the fire came up, I was the one to take care of it, because inevitably that person that was supposed to take care of it wasn't around. Mm-hmm. And that's where you have to be your most productive self, and working from task lists and working from piles of paper and stacks of whatever. And you have to really know how to get in the flow, because 18 people don't support themselves.
Right.
And when I moved into my own business and I realized, wow, these small business owners, these entrepreneurs really are amazing at what they do, but nobody ever taught them how to run a business. Mm-hmm. Nobody ever, nobody taught them how to do their books. Nobody taught them how to be productive and how to, have other people help them, or how to ask for help. They don't think they can afford it. They don't think that there's anything that they can do other than doing it all themselves. Mm-hmm. And that is where the necessity came in. Because when my clone started, I was basically a virtual assistant for small businesses. And I had no problem getting clients that way. But I was pigeonholing myself into that assistant role that nobody values. Because when somebody says, I'm going to go get an assistant, they're thinking about a $10 person that they're going to go get out of school because this person doesn't know anything. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that $10 is completely wasted. Or that $10 an hour is completely wasted, because you have to tell them what to do. You have to teach them what to do. $10 an hour people don't think for themselves, not in this day and age. Mm-hmm. And so if you really want somebody that could be your right hand, or can have some critical thinking skills, they're sitting here thinking, I'm worth $20 an hour minimum. And they're right, because McDonald's workers who push pictures, on a keyboard, all day long are making $15 an hour now. Why do I want to come run your business for $10 an hour when I could go do something completely brainless for 15?
That's true. And
That
come
doesn't
with insurance.
Exactly. And all the perks of, free McDonald's.
Yeah.
And the gym and all of that. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm like, unless I'm so completely loyal to you that you are like my best friend running this business and I'm going to run this business right along with you and you're going to take me with you and you're going to end up making me, your vice president or whatever when your business gets big enough, that's the only way you're ever getting somebody for $10, $12 an hour. And I can tell you right now, if that person decides to start a family, it's going to be the family or it's going to be you, because you're not paying enough for that, or you're going to have to up that and you're going to have to be prepared. Yeah. But it's really like, embrace what it is that you do, but don't forget that there's a business behind what you're doing. And if you don't have the capacity yourself to learn everything and do everything in the most productive way, get help and have a process. And, that's where my clients now are starting to understand where I come in, because that's what I'm hired for. I'm hired to take all of the amazing ideas and, the way that they work with their clients and the way that they feel and take them out of them and actually make a process that, that a Mystique would be proud of. It's just one of those, like, you have to have a process. You can't implement things. You can't implement a timeline if you don't know what the steps of the timeline are. Mm-hmm. And you can't create yourself a self-study program for new clients that sells without you unless you know what your process is for your coaching program. All of these different things that people don't see because they're so good at it, at what they do, that they can't see it from the other side, the more technical side. And so I just come in and show people the other side of what they're doing. And then we can together make it more focused on the customer. And we can really enhance the customer experience and give the business owner something that if they wanted to sell the business, they could. Because most business owners and solopreneurs, their business will never run without them. Mm-hmm. So if something happens to them, their business is gone. And if you really want to take care of your long-term clients and customers, you will build a business that you can succeed to somebody else or you can sell to somebody else that will put just as much care and love into your business as you have, because you've done the work. And now it's just about having somebody else run it for you. And that's really, everybody dreams, all these entrepreneurs dream of having a business where they only work 4 hours a week, right? I mean, there's a whole book on it. Right. But you can't do that if you don't build your business to do that.
Right. And systems. Yeah.
Yep. Systems and processes. And it's an ugly word for creatives. I know. But it's something that needs to be done for you and for your business. And the thing is if you need help with that, if you can't get out of the creative vibe enough to do it, then have somebody who understands you help you make that happen.
I have been in a similar situation to what you described earlier of being a small business owner. At that time, I was running and building a bottled water company who, like, money was really, really tight, and I knew I needed to bring on people to help out, but I couldn't quite wrap my head around the financial part of it to actually pay them.
Yeah.
How do you approach that type of situation with your own clients who can't really see past, like, the initial money side, and then decide to do everything themselves because they feel like they are saving money because of the immediate, bank account?
Right. So everybody feels that way. So believe me, if you are resonating with that, everybody feels that way. You are not alone at all. So what I talk about with my clients is opportunity cost. And what happens if you were